Okay, so my name is Andy Sandham. So this is kind of a quick tutorial in some basic whiteboxing. This isn't kind of how you'd normally do it. You would normally well, probably the quickest way if you're using Unreal is to use BSP brushes, and then you export the brushes, and then you can kind of build more complex geometry on top of those brushes, which I will explain at some point. So I've just got this image from a game that I worked on, which is a kind of spatial diagram of the level. So it was kind of a stealth game. It was an awful game. It was kind of a stealth game. So the red route through the level. This is a kind of white box diagram, so you get an idea of the flow through the level. So the red route or path is the critical path, and so it mostly takes place on one level. So which is kind of these days you do tend to be clambering upstairs and through buildings, but so you are moving through buildings on this level. Really, it's designed around the fact that you take cover and have various encounters, and you are corralling the player in such a way that they can't kind of wander off the track. So you want to give them the illusion of freedom, where you are actually directing them through this area. So the blue point is a kind of special event. Well, the blue and the yellow point. So this is your first objective that will be given to you via some either radio chatter or on-screen prompts, or on-screen instructions would be a more correct way of describing it. So you come around here. Obviously, there's some sort of precipitous gunfight here on this little ledge. Come back around here, down here, and then these are your two main objectives, where there's these cross-hatched areas marking out cutscenes. So, for the purposes of whiteboxing in Maya, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of I'm going to use this as a template to create a very basic floor plan, which we're going to then create in Maya, and then which will give us something we could drag into a integrated game environment, integrated development environment, even IDE like Unreal or Unity. So without further ado, I'm going to shut up. I'm going to move this off screen. I'm going to let's try that one. I don't know why I've got two versions of Photoshop. Monitor's still broken. So basically, I am just going to create a new. I'm just going to create a new image, blank canvas. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is, I don't know why it's black. So let's just have a look. Okay, so I don't know why it's defaulted to black, but anyway, I'll just switch these. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is if you look here on this diagram, I'm going to try and create a kind of square room shape that I can use to block out a 2D top down. I should quickly point out as well that, so this is kind of stage 2 of your level design planning. So number one, this kind of is a much simpler overview of the area we want to create. So this would be your start image, where you start visualizing the kind of area that the area you want to create, and then you move on to whiteboxing out. So I'm kind of reverse engineering it a bit. I'm going to take the more complex diagram and create a floor plan out of that. So shut up, Andy, and first thing I want to do is I'm going to create a like I said, I want to create a kind of room shape I can use. So let's have a look. So I probably want the room to be about well, I've done this previously, so it's defaulted back to the fixed size marquee, which is 180 by 180. So let's just try that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill that. I could not use that because of a program error. Excellent. Okay, so that's a good start. I shall try and work out what's going on and reopen Photoshop. Okay, so let's see if it lets me do it this time. Up to the marquee, style, fixed size. Let's try 160 by 160. There's plenty of ways of doing this. This is just something a way that I thought may be quick and convenient, but I'm beginning to change my mind. Okay, so I'll just fill that in black using the fill tool. So back up to my, there's always 1,000,000 ways of doing everything. It's kind of up to you to work out which one suits you best, and just keep trying until you find the way of doing things you're most comfortable with. So back to fixed size, I'm going to take this down to 150 by 150. Okay, so if I click back in here and then line that up using the arrow keys. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect at this stage. So go to cut. Let's just move back on marquee, move it to normal, if I can get hold of that. Okay, so let's just cut that out. In fact, I'm just going to make sure that I only pick up the ink section. So I've just gone to magic wand. I've deleted selection by holding down Alt, which has removed the white areas. I hope, let's see, I'm going to cut this. So far so good. Let's paste it in. So we've got a new layer down here, which should just be this this black box. So let me just go over here and well, in fact, let's just go paste again and paste again. And so I've got 3 of these now, so I can start with these. Let's go back to layer 1. So really I'm going to use this as a template to start building the room sizes, just very roughly. So you know, for instance, things like this doorway here means that you haven't got a direct line of sight into this room where there could be an encounter. Just this is something that we're not trying to plan out today, but just to give you an idea of how you might do it. So let me have a look. So the first room is probably, let me just have a quick look. Edit, transform, scale. It's probably a little bit more that kind of size. Just apply that. Let's go to layer 2. So looking at my diagram above, let me just scale that down. Apply that. Okay, so it doesn't really matter that we're distorting the lines. I just want the shapes. We can fix that when we get into Maya. So it's automatically snapping these together. So in fact, let me just, you can do this with lines, but sometimes it's just a bit easier to have a box shape to start with. So you can see now that I've kind of created these 2 rooms here. So what I'll do is I shall now, without boring myself and everybody else to death, I shall sort of create a rough layout of the rest of this map in the top-down floor plan format. Okay, so this is super rough, but just kind of basically shows us the super basic layout of this level. But just one last thing is just to make sure that on your floor plan you have, well, first of all, we've got all our layers here, so let's just flatten all those, layer, flatten image. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm going to cut some doors so that we can see where the player will be moving. Ideally you want to keep these the same size, but it just saves confusion when you're taking this file into Maya, because obviously you want to be able to, when you take this into Unreal or Unity, you want to be able to drop in your default character and be able to run through it. So what I'll do is I shall save this out as a JPEG probably, or a PNG, and then I will show you how to get it into Maya, or Maya as some people call it. Okay.